He needs more time. He'll tell you something good.
While he's getting ready, I'm going to run my mouth. Y'all haven't heard me enough today, I'm sure. Those of you that want to participate in the hive giveaway, like I said, we're going to give away 3 hives, which includes the top, the inner, a deep, and a bottom board, smoker, helmet, veil, and hive tools. I think that's right. If those of you that have, if you've seen that little paper, all the requirements, if you don't fill those requirements on the hive giveaway list, you need to write a 200-word paper, and you can email it to me or to Mr. Bob. I'll give you my email address, or if you don't have a computer, I'll give you my snail mail address. And then next week, several of us are going to get together. We're going to judge the essay someday next week. Probably, well, I'll give you from now to like next Friday to get it to us, and then the week after that. So, yeah, they'll give you enough time. A week's enough time. And then, so, like, by next Friday, you get it to me, and then the next week we'll judge it, and we'll call those 3 people that have won the hive. That way you can talk to John. Where's Mike? Mike, stand up. Carl, stand up. Stay standing. Okay, these 3 guys right here, they all have bees to sell. You can order them from Kelly and all them other folks. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying if it was me, I would look at 2 places. I would look to one of these guys, or I'd catch me a snake.
Everybody all right?
Anyway, Mike has hives. He's the guy in the green shirt and blue hat. Mike has hives. He will either sell you bees, or if you want to take your equipment to him, he will take your equipment, put some bees in there, and get them started for a certain price. He'll sell you the bees for a certain price, or he'll get them started for a certain price. Carl, what do you sell? You selling the whole thing? Okay, he's got the whole kit and caboodle. And he's got, like, if you want just a deep, it's one price. If you want a deep and a shallow, it's one price. So he can sell you the whole package with bees already installed and with frames drawn out. And I'm going to let John tell you exactly what he has on. I know he sells bees, and he's got good bees too. So any one of these 3 guys, once you win your hives, if you want to talk to any one of them, that's where I would suggest you get your bees. You can order them from Kelly's and come in that package like whatever. But I like local guys best, and these guys know what they're doing. So, if you want to participate in the giveaway, either email me your essay and tell me who your mentor is, or snail mail me your essay and tell me who your mentor is by next Friday. And then the week after that, we'll get together and let whoever knows one. Anyway.
Thank you, Diane. Those who are new to the club, I encourage you to find you a mentor. That's the best thing you can do to really become a successful beekeeper. They have the knowledge, they have the experience, and this club is blessed with a lot of great beekeepers. Bob, most of you may, or the new ones here may not know that Bob went to Afghanistan with USDA to teach them about beekeeping. So you've got a little bit different perspective in beekeeping, so you need to pick his brain and talk to him a little bit. With beekeeping, you've got, you'll have a room with 10 beekeepers, you're going to have 11 opinions. And the nice thing about beekeeping is that it works if you follow certain basic principles, and those have been discussed today. In understanding how bees work is your best way to have success. And we found, I started out with my dad and granddad when I was a little guy, big enough to follow. And I was very fortunate to have a grandfather that taught me, if you watch nature and understand nature, they've been doing this for a long time. Your success will be much better for you. And one of the things that I've learned, and you can do it any way you want to, I was taught on a 10-frame hive like this. This has 10 frames in it. But I always wondered why number 1 and number 10 was always extremely hard for the bees to draw out. You wouldn't have to take and pull them up, scoop number 2 out, and set number 1 in the number 2 slot to get the bees to draw it out. Well, after a while, my wife and I, we kind of got to figuring things out, and well, maybe it's out of what the bees naturally draw in nature. And so we started paying attention a little bit better to cutouts and what have you. And it seemed like to us that from somewhere around 6 to 8 frames is basically what the bees like to draw out. And it's easier management technique. We have found for us, as we've gotten older, we started out with the deeps, they have become heavy. And you will, if you live long enough, they will get to the point where they become extremely heavy for you. So we went to 8-frame mediums. We used 3 of them instead of 2 deeps. And with 8 frames, we know exactly when to put another box on, because bees start in the center, work outward. When you see them start drawing out number 1 and number 8, put your box on and don't be late. 1 and 8 and don't be late. Every time you see them working on number 1 and number 8, set your another box on. Another box. And you'll be really surprised how your chances of swarming will be reduced. The thing about with doing it that way, you have better management of the hive. And by having better management, you're able to gain more honey. And that's what it's all about. I love honey. That's the truth. I just absolutely love it. And if there's anybody here who thinks that it'd be a great place to hide money, it's not. It will not work. In our county back in '74, a gentleman and his wife was having marital difficulties, and he thought he'd get the jump on her and went down to the bank and pulled out $18,000. And $18,000 in 1974 is the same as about $84,000 today. So he goes out there, puts a box on there, puts his money in there. Man, I've been hurt. So he was just tickled to death. And then one day, 2 or 3 days later, he went by, looked out in front of the hives, and there's green confetti all over the place. If it doesn't belong in the hive, the bees are going to take it out. And so that's what happened to him. So you don't need to be putting stuff in your hive that the bees don't want in there. And they won't push it out in the front. They chewed it up, and the thing about it is that him and his wife wound up getting back together, but it was a lot less poor. So don't think you're going to have your money in your hive. One thing, don't ever fail to realize just because an individual is a little bit younger than you, that they don't have some kind of a knowledge to help you with your beekeeping. One thing that a friend of ours that I helped get started in bees taught me something. He lives in kind of a cedar glade area down there outside of Franklin. And cedar trees and ticks kind of go hand in hand. If you got cedar trees, you don't have ticks. And so to combat the ticks, he taught me this trick. Take the handyman's super weapon right here, duct tape. If you'll take and wrap, if you're bothered by ticks, you can wrap it around your leg like that, and then pull it and twist it. Now, you've got that sticky side out, and guess what? When the ticks come up, they're going to crawl up on that sticky stuff and won't get on your legs and into your pants and bite you. Because in his area, he had Lyme disease, and it works very well. So you can always learn from every beekeeper by listening. No one man has all the answers. Hey, I've made enough mistakes I could write a book off of. And by understanding that you will make mistakes. But our job as beekeepers is to teach you not to make the mistakes that most people make. One of the mistakes that a lot of people will do, and some of the videos out there, they'll show you a professor going in and pulling a frame right up out of the center of that hive. When you do that, It's great for my business because you're going to roll that queen. So when you go to work your bees, I always work from the outside in. Take the pusher frames over, all the way over. Pull one back, and this is a Dave Miller's eye beater trap. And look at it. When you look at it, make sure you're holding over that hive. We just pretend this is a frame of wax. Hold it over the hive when you're looking at it. Because if you're over here showing it to somebody, and it's a little bit cool, they're going to ball that queen. They're going to keep her at 94, 93 degrees, somewhere thereabouts. They can ball her to the point where she can actually be pulled off the frame and onto the ground. And you're showing somebody your queen, oh, look at all these frames. And you mash that queen, you can be in trouble. When you mash a $250 breeder queen, you're really in trouble. So these are the things that I've done that I know will hurt you. So you take a look at that frame. That's the only frame that comes out of my hive. I set it down, lean it up against this hive. I've got a rail system hive stands, and I always lean it against the hive in which it came out, just in case a queen was on that outer frame. Most times she will not be on the outside frame. Then I take my hive tool, come back in there, pull it over, and see how much room I've got there now? I can pull that frame up straight out without rolling that queen. Once again, I take, hold it over, I can turn it any way I want to. Set it back down. When I set it back down, I push it against the wall, like that. By pushing against the wall, I reduce the risk of having that queen. If I had it out here and I go pushing the frame back together, I can mash that queen if she's on the end bar. So the next frame, I pull up, hold over the hive. When I go set it back down, I'll take it, y'all can see that, I'll bump, just barely bump that, because usually there are bees on those uprights, and I'll bump it, just barely, and they'll move right out of the way. And then I'll do the same on this end. And I'll work it all the way across like that to get across to here. And then when I go to put it back together, I always put it back in the way in which they had it. And then I'll put this frame in here, like that. This is perfect lineup tool. Your fingers are just the right size. Make sure it's lined up like that, equal space on each side. You give the bees the room that they need when they need it. You will not have burr comb. The only reason they make burr comb is because they're out of space. And to tell you what's going on in the hive is a pretty neat little trick that I was taught early on, was to, back years ago, I don't even know if this has a date. I used to stamp on the, I don't see a date on this one. This is a honey super. I no longer use them. But when I was using the 2-box system, I would use it. If you'll take a frame of fresh wax foundation, put it in a hive, if you notice on this, it's that much difference. But when you use a D, it's quite a big difference. Markable difference. So whatever they're controlled up here to what they're going to drop. It's going to be worker cells. All right? But what's below here is uncontrolled by you, the beekeeper. What they will put in here is what they need. If everything's rocking along good, they'll put